Shepherds of Ro'eh, number 6, with a munach. So this is, again, a sharp demarcation followed by moving forward. Shepherds of one group raised arguments about their pasturing rights, not respecting any rule of ownership and sovereignty, as denoted by the shape of the related reading mark. So these are shepherds who are doing what is best for their sheep, not following the laws of the land, if you will. And they are going to separate themselves out from everybody else who's following the rules. Miknei Lot, with the stabilizing etnachta. He's got here as cattle of Lot. Those attending the cattle of Lot utilize the available pasture for their herds, and in the best interests of their lord did not consider any zones of limitation or restriction, as suggested by the stabilizing shape of the reading mark. The most important thing here, the thing that needed the most attention, was the cattle of Lot, and anybody else's interests were subordinate to that. We have a side note here, Ro'eh Miknei Avram and Ro'eh Miknei Lot, as Sue had pointed out, that we're having these two groups counterbalanced against each other, the shepherds of the cattle of Avram and the shepherds of the cattle of Lot, instead of Ro'eh Avram and Ro'eh Lot. So each time we have the word cattle introduced into both phrases. Why is it not an argument between the shepherds of Avram and the shepherds of Lot? The shepherds of the cattle. Why do we have the cattle mentioned twice? Indicates that the shepherds behave towards their cattle in accordance with the preliminary instructions given by their master. So Rashi again says that Avram had set rules as to the limits on which fields cattle were allowed to graze, only the ones that he owned, and Lot had given them permission to graze in other fields. So when you introduce the term cattle into both phrases, you have to say that extra word is there to say that based on the limitations or freedoms that were given by the two over-controlling masters, if you will. The Haknaani with the Pashta and the Knaani. So this is a note that is on top of the word, so it gives it some importance and it pushes us forward to what's going to come afterwards. Lot's shepherds operated indiscriminately in the vicinity of their possession, and the Knaani, who watched the situation in order to have a reason for attacking the foreign intruders, as expressed by the directional shape of the reading mark. The Knaani, who are watching what Lot's shepherds are going to do, are going to grazing in other people's fields indiscriminately, are now going to use this as a reason to do something about the situation. Veha Prizi, and the Prizi, with the two-part katon, so this is both the two dots on top of the resh, again, one thing higher than the other. In case of any clash, the Knaani and the Prizi would join in the action, motivated by similar reasons, as specified by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. So, again, we have two nations who are going to use this as pretense to do something about it, and maybe the Knaani who have a direct objection, and the Prizi, although he doesn't say here, I'm wondering if their land might not even have been impinged upon, but they were just sort of going in to support the Knaani, and that's why we have the one higher and the one lower.
Just that familiar ring later, not that it's the man of Lebanon, but what the Egyptians say against the Jews, there'll be a fifth column and they'll have that ring to it. You know what I'm talking about? That they'll join in. Remember what is it?
How about pen year be'ava yakikchkana milchama b'nesafkam hu'asanenu v'nilcham b'navalav min. But
to me, it sounds a little.
So the Avram and Lot aren't really in any way possessed by the land.
No, just the fact that they'll be like if I understood what you said about the Canaan and Prizi.
So the Kanani and Prizi are saying that Lot is breaking the rules, so they're going to use this in order to enforce the rules against them, and not only against Lot and his shepherds who are breaking the rules, but possibly against Avram,
Right, so
because he's just one of them foreigners.
Also, it's interesting. The irony, like Prizi, is that if you jumble it, it's the So the whole thing is about going beyond the borders that you're, having. So it's funny that it's the Prizi.
So again, the Canaanite claim to the land of Israel is not legitimate. They were not supposed to take that land, and we learned that already in Noach. But they went there anyways, and that is
the Canaanite.
All of the Canaanite tribes had no did not have this land distributed to them when land was distributed to the children of Noah. So they are in fact people who have spread beyond where they should.
They're occupiers.
So
even the Canaanites, and that's why. So why is it called Eretz Canaan? That was sort of their modus operandi, that they called everything Eretz Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
When we say the seven, what do we say? The seven Canaanite nations.
Mm-hmm.
So Prizi and all the Girgashi and all those they're also Canaanites. Why do we call them the seven? No, the seven Umot. They're not the seven Canaanite nations. Only Canaan is only one of them, right?
Why? Because
do we say that? Are we making that?
Because the Canaanites were the most prominent. They had the largest landholding.
But you're saying not out of right,
not out of rights, out of
they pushed their way around.
De facto, they were there.
And you could argue like Canaan is like lehikana, like to surrender, like to capitulate.
What's the comma then?
And we continue with number 10, Az, then, with a tipcha. So this is going to focus us backwards and. Okay, sorry. So So please, if we're going to say, let's say it out loud and let the whole group join in.
No, I just got what she said.
Knani Frizi.
If she's saying the word Knani, okay, you say it.
Just that they were all referred to, subsumed under the rubric of Canaan, because they were all the nations that were going lihikana, to capitulate to the Jews, when the Jews took.
That. Oh, I thought you meant that they're subdued by Canaan, that we said he overstepped his. You're saying
that you said the Prizi.
No, but I'm saying all of it. Canaanese, like we call them the Canaanite nations, and you're saying.
Yeah, I'm saying they were the group of nations that capitulated when the Jews came in and kicked them out.
That's the reason Canaan seems to be the. Why do we call it Canaan, even though it was, they were all 7 8? So what I'm thinking, what you're saying is because Canaani was pushy, and all these other six nations became subsumed
by them.
By Canaani. And then you can add your thing about the Jewish people later. So there could be a double
because they didn't really Canaan didn't actually capitulate. They actually fought. Rather hard. Baruch had to send all manner of plagues as well, whether they were hornets or Easter, or just help them in the battlefield. But it's not like they said, "Oh, Jews, please come take our land."
The Jews take it, sure.
Az, then, with a tipcha, number 10. Then, in the time of Avram, they occupied the area representing the ruling majority, as illustrated by the reverse directional shape of the reading mark. So I think we have the answer to that question. Why it was called Eretz Canaan, because they were the ruling majority. Yoshev, with a mercha, likely connected to what's come from before, but mostly moving us forward. By residing in close proximity to Avram and Lot, the Knani and Prizi were most likely to attack in order to protect their own interests, as conveyed by the directional shape of the reading mark. So, because they were in the vicinity, they are what's going to make what's going to happen afterwards the reality. The Aretz, on the land, with the stabilizing Sof Pasuk. Moreover, dwelling on the land and having dominion there, they also considered adjacent spots as their own. And if anybody wants to read the Polish saying, you certainly are welcome to it. When two fight, the third wins. So
How would you pronounce that? Could you? Well, you might know, Sheldon. Your mother would know. She would pronounce that properly.
whatever.
Can't
it
be
is.
on tape. Right. It's a compliment.
No, very good. I just, you know, you can call out.
I thought like father and son. No, he could phone his mother now. And she was like, I'm sure.
Mom, how do you pronounce these words? Yeah.
Mom, are you awake now? Yes.
But see, it's so important to understand Hebrew because Canaan, people don't.
If we were having the class at like 5 in the morning, then she'd be awake.
I should get that early. But Nichna, you ever think that like what you said in Canaan means subdue, so or Nichna, you know, so you can look at it many that the other nations were subdued by the Canaanim, and then later the Canaanim or all of them became subdued Nichna from Canaan to us, to the Jewish people. So it's all there in the words. It's all there.
You're right.
And we have an extra comment on it, remark, Az Yoshev Ba'aretz, then residing on the land, in connection with the beginning of the sentence Vayhi, and it was a dispute, indicating the first stage of Biat Mashiach and Shivat Zion, the coming of Mashiach and the returning to Zion, which will be accompanied by disputes, tragedies, and wars. And we know from the Gemara and Megillah that whenever we see the word Vayehi introducing a paragraph, that is something that bad news is going to follow. So the question is, what's the bad news here? And that is all of the disputes that are going to happen before things get better afterwards.
Oh, so you're talking about the Vihi from Vihiri, right?
So Vayehi.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking for Vihi later on. Okay, yeah.
Well, if I
It's mentioning that as a remark.
yes.
Oh, his remarks come at the end of the sentence, but it's really okay.
We're saying if I hear read,
I thought it was around the Mashiach.
So at the time of Mashiach, there's going to be quarrels and fighting also.
Like those rabbis who say Mashiach should come, but I don't want to be around for it because they know it's going to come only with tragedy. And I'm not making it up.
I didn't say make it up. Very good.
No, the rabbis say that if we wait the full length to the expiry date of when Mashiach is going to come, it'll be of source. You know, it'll come in two ways. But if it's going to come the Ta way, they don't want to be around for it.
Yeah, well, just read the news.
That's what?
Read the news. Watch the news.
So as we read through the sentence with the pauses overemphasized, we're going to see that first yativ on the word bain is going to make this concept of it happening between two disparate groups. It's going to stand all by itself. Roe Miknei Avram are going to stand on one side, and Uvein again is going to pause, and it's going to be separated out all by itself. And we have Roe Miknei Lot on the other side. The Kanaani and the Prizi are going to stand together as a block, and again, their claim, their right is going to be emphasized by the word az, that at that time they are the masters of the house, if you will. So az is going to again separate out the phrase of Yoshev Ba'aretz from the Kanaani and Prizi. It's their right and their dominion, but only at that time. Vayhiri Bain Roe Miknei Avram Uvein Roe Miknei Lot the Haknani the Haprizi Az Yoshev Ba'aretz. And we'll continue.
Oh, no.
Yes?
I have a remark, but I realize it should be after this pursuit. Does he have a remark at the end of this pursuit?
He does.
Well, let's see. Okay.
We look forward to it. Vayomer, and he said, with a kadma, so this is note connected to the one in front of it, the one after it, it is going to push us forward into what's going to go afterwards, and is going to emphasize the word, giving it a little bit of extra importance. By Lot's conduct and by the directives to his shepherds, Avram saw imminent danger for both of them. And he said that an internal piece of primary importance to repel any attack from the outside, as indicated by the directional shape of the reading mark. So Avram is looking forward at what is going to happen, and he decides to take the step of saying something needs to be done here.
Sir, what is that above the yud?
Yes.
And okay. It's just not, it's really faint.
What, the note?
So both
No.
the Pashtana Kadma look the exact same. It's determined by the note that comes afterwards. We have the Azla that comes afterwards on Avram's name, which again gives emphasis and importance and closes off the phrase, has a pause afterwards. Although Avram was older, he ignored his dignity and seniority, approaching Lot first for the sake of peace, as shown by the shape of the corresponding reading mark. So normally the junior partner should lower his pride and say, okay, I cede to you. But here Avram plays the adult in the room and comes and says, somebody's got to do something about this before it gets worse.
Someone's got to give. No, last one.
El Lot.
Oh wait, just before you just getting back, this is bugging me so, but Klini Aprisiad Yoshe Ba'aretz. When's the next time that's mentioned that the chait is not in, the level of rishus is not, we haven't had it yet.
It was in Noach. We already had
That
it.
Hashem says he couldn't bring the Mabul. What was the context then?
He couldn't bring them up.
No, I'm asking. What's the Pasuk I'm thinking of? It sounds like this one. That's what you just said, right?
Okay, so we have later on Kilo Shalem Avon Haya Mariyat Hena.
That's ahead.
That's ahead.
Where's that one? But you said there's one that was in Noah.
Positive. So I can find.